Welcome back, everybody. This is chapter 16 and day 16 of Power of Awareness. And today's chapter is looking at personal impotence, and that is the title of this chapter, Personal Impotence. Now, before I go right into the notes, I'm just going to look at the definition of impotence. And impotence really talks about our own sort of power, and if you think about it, our own inability to change a situation. So it's not just about being ineffective, it's about having the ability, not having the ability to do any change. So, in other words, feeling completely helpless. Or if you think, for example, like if you look at the opposite, if someone says that, that medicine is so potent, it means it's like absolutely full of power, you know, while impotence is the complete opposite. It's like devoid of power, devoid of any strength. So, personal impotence, let's dive in. Self surrender is essential, and by that is meant the confession of personal impotence. And so, uh, basically, self surrender is essential in that you realize that you yourself cannot bring about the results of the thing that you want. Now, this might sound like an oxymoron because in prior chapters, we've talked about how the fact that you are responsible for the results. But what he means is the mechanics of how it happens. When a farmer plants a seed, the farmer does not exactly know how the seed turns into a tree, an apple tree. When you plant apple seeds, you don't have to do the mechanics of going into the soil and breaking the seed apart and making sure the right part of the seed is germinating and knowing the right temperature for it to do so, and how many days or how many months or years it needs to be at that perfect optimum temperature in the soil in order to germinate. You do not control any of those mechanics, but you still follow the process. You still follow the law of sowing and reaping, and by you surrendering to that law, you bring about the results that you want. You bring about the apple trees that you want. And it is the same in manifesting. You don't have to know the mechanics of how the thing you want will come to you, but you can fully surrender yourself in knowing that this law works and this is a law. And by fully surrendering to it and knowing that you have the ability to affect your circumstances and surrendering to that ideal, you will bring things about. Neville here gives a quote from the Bible. I can of mine own self do nothing. He continues to write, since creation is finished, it is impossible to force anything into being. The example of magnetism previously given is a good illustration. You cannot make magnetism. It can only be displayed. And you cannot make the law of magnetism. If you want to build a magnet, you can do so only by conforming to the law of magnetism. And if you think about it, it's not even about making the magnet that you have to conform to the law. Any object that's in the path of a magnet, for which the molecules are in harmony with, the vibration of the magnet, that object will be automatically attracted to the magnet. It cannot help itself. It has to be attracted to the magnet. So there is a law operating in that magnet itself, in that it will attract that thing, or it will grab onto the thing that comes close to it. And if you remember in chapter 2, when he talks about magnetism and discusses a magnetized steel, he says the molecules of one that's magnetized flow differently. In other words, the vibe of unmagnetized steel is different. It's completely same molecules. They are just arranged differently. One has power in it, one, the power is void. So in the same way, the law of assumption, which is a law, when applied, and when you apply it by not forcing things, you bring about the results that you want. Well, let's continue. In like manner, when you use the faculty of assumption, you are conforming to a law just as real as the law governing magnetism. You can neither create nor change the law of assumption. As in, this law exists and is working, whether you agree with it or not, whether you understand it or not. We cannot help but create. We cannot help but bring things about. You don't become a manifester because you've learnt about it. We as long as you're a human being and you're here on this planet, you're doing this. As long as you're thinking thoughts, you are doing this, because all manifesting is the stories we continuously tell, i.e., the thoughts we're thinking all the time. And the thoughts we're thinking turn into words. And so the life on the outside is just reflecting the things we are thinking, the things we are saying. And as it brings those, it reflects those things to us and we see them, we start to think, oh yeah. For example, if you start to think, things are always hard for me whenever I move to a different city, it will be the reality. And every time you see it, it gets reinforced. And so it eventually starts to become a belief because you've seen it over and over again and it's become reinforced in your mind. Well, let's continue. You can only yield or conform, and since all of your experiences are the result of your assumption, consciously or unconsciously, the value of consciously using the power of assumption surely must be obvious. Willingly identify yourself with that which you most desire, knowing that it will find expression through you. Yield to the feeling of the wish fulfilled and be consumed as its victim. Then rise as the prophet of the law of assumption. And that's the end of the chapter. So you have to willingly saturate your mind with the thing that you want as if it's already happened. And as you saturate your mind, you are applying this law. Just like the law of gravity, if you align yourself with it, you will get the positive results of the law of gravity. If you do the opposite, if you go against the law of gravity, if you just go on a building and decide to jump off with no parachute, then you're going to get the negative effects of the law of gravity. Same with the law of assumption. You cannot change the law. It's just a law. It exists. So in order to get the positives of the law of assumption, you want to manifest what you want, saturate your mind with the idea that the thing you want has already happened. And as you do this, you're aligning yourself with the law of assumption, and this thing, the things that you desire, will come to you. If you're desiring confidence, you saturate your mind and tell yourself how confident you are, how everybody approves of you, how you walk into any room you want and always get whatever you want. If you saturate your mind with these thoughts, you will start to see the results on the outside. And if you persist, even when things are not showing up yet, because this is a law, it will eventually change what's happening on the outside. But if you do not, and you keep, falling backwards into the rabbit hole of thinking, no one likes me. I can never get a break. I can never get ahead in life. As you saturate your mind with this, you're going to get that law of assumption is still working for you. You're just going to get the negatives of it. So surrender yourself to this law, knowing that it is a law that works all the time. And as you surrender yourself to the things that you want, to your ideal, as you let yourself be consumed and saturated by your wish fulfilled, you will bring it to pass effortlessly. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next chapter.